Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'll be painting a cityscape. I find it actually a lot harder to paint cityscapes on this small kind of like sketchbook size because of the details, like you have to fit so many things in. So this actually turned out a lot harder than I expected, and it's a lot like you have to trust the process because it looks awful halfway until all the lights are up. Also, I'll be officially back from my vacation next week, so I'm kind of looking forward to getting back into the routine and painting a larger sized canvas for one of my bouquet paintings. Anyway, what I have done is I have sketched out the landscape, like the buildings and all that. Usually I like to map it out first, like kind of like get the colors in. But I think with what I'm using, the medium, which is acrylic wash, it's just easier to go like step by step, part by part. So right now I am painting this building. I want this to be a bit more colorful and also a little bit warm. So I have like this orange glows in between for all the windows, and I kind of like blend it so that it looks a little bit blurry-ish, although this is not really bokeh, but I'm just trying to experiment by blending all the windows together with the buildings and the buildings to the sky. Then right now I'm just like painting, adding more windows because it's going to be like a colorful piece. I alternate between orange and blue, and for the walls of the buildings I'm using brown and with a little bit of blue as well to kind of create the colors. So with this set, I actually learned a lot more with color mixing because there's only 12 colors that I'm working with. So you kind of really have to experiment around by mixing different shades and different colors to create a completely new color, which I find a bit challenging but also quite fun. So for the buildings, I'm using like mostly blue, dark blue and a little bit of brown. So that will be my theme, and I'm adding a bit of more lights so it looks a bit bright. And for the lights, I'm using, I first paint it in orange red, and then I add orange yellow in the middle, and then once I blend that in, then I put in like a little stroke of lemon yellow mixed with titanium white, so you get this very neon looking glow. So for the buildings on the right, I'm going to paint them mostly in blue. The one in the front row is going to be a darker shade of blue, and towards the back is going to be a lighter shade to kind of try to create a little bit of depth. And then I'm also painting this kind of like ambiguous looking shapes there to create the illusion of like windows, glass windows or billboards. So mind you, this isn't a very realistic sort of looking painting. I would say it's a bit more expressive or maybe borderline more abstractish, and I think that's kind of like how I wanted it to be. It also makes things a lot easier, especially when you're trying to kind of speed through things or just to create a very vague landscape of a city, minus all the insane details. So besides all the blue, I'm also adding a little bit more orange and orange yellow with a bit of yellow to brighten it up. And over here I'm adding I would say this is a van or something, because I want to add a bit more lights, and that light is going to reflect onto the ground later, so I want to paint a bit more cars and things here, so that'll be a van. So for the sky, I've decided to go with blue, and I'm going to darken the top part of it, and then I'm gonna mix with a little bit of white at the bottom, and that is gonna flow down to the streets. I also blend the edges of the building with the sky, so it kind of like looks as if it's one. And with gouache, it's actually quite easy because you just have to mix it with water and the paint will just reactivate. And then for the sidewalks, I paint them in brown, but I also add a splash of color onto it because of the buildings. It's like very bright and colorful, so I want a little bit of that color to spill over onto the ground and also make it look a little bit more wet. And I'm going to drag a bit of brake lights from the cars and drag it down to the ground, and I'm going to add a few more lights lining up the street, and I think this part really kind of like ties it all together, the street lights. So this painting is a little bit loose. I didn't really use a ruler or anything, so my lines may not be that straight, but I think it kind of suits the personality of this painting. And I'm gonna paint like a little bit of like some flags, you know, the ones outside shopping malls when they have like a discount or something, and then they have these flags hanging down to make it a little bit more festive. And for the finishing touches, I add a little bit of white dots at the end to brighten up the whole piece, and it is finished. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like this painting, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Every day is a lullaby.